weaving friends, how are you doing today? I am in a cold Santiago this afternoon, but I'm positive because we're starting spring here, so I hope that the days will improve, that the weather will improve very soon. So today I want to talk to you about something that I usually don't do, because we always tend to talk about the successful projects to show what we have achieved and that we are proud of. But today I want to show you a few examples of projects where things went wrong or didn't go the way we expected. Take a look at this. I have like a bunch of experiments that in a sort of way didn't go well, but that I learned from them and I could make them better the second, the third, the fourth time I make them. So this will be 4 examples so you don't get confused. And in terms of the yarn that I have chosen to make this project. So first example is this square. As you can see, it kind of work, but take a look at these fibers I have chosen, the yellow ones. They have this they are too soft. They have this too soft finish, so they tend to slide a bit. So I use them in this part as a double stitch, and take a look. They are too loose. They tend to open. So this piece of the woven piece or this part of the woven piece won't work. It will be easy to get damaged, too loose. Okay, so in this part it works, but here it doesn't. So what I do in these cases, I try to use it in a finished product that don't have too much traffic, like a cushion, like the ones I have here, because it will be a bit delicate. Okay, so it maybe won't work as I want, but it's quite usable. Okay, so be careful when they have this too soft finish. Okay, another example of the same but extreme is this shawl I made years ago. Okay, it has a great drape, really works as a shawl, but it's extremely delicate. Take a look. This is these are acrylic fibers, but imitating silk. So in fact, it is difficult to make the knots of the fringes because it tends to slide all the time, and it's easy to get stuck with your nails. Okay, so it's really not what I recommend. What I usually do in these cases is to use them because they have this great finish. They look more luxurious or more elegant. Okay, but mixing them with a cotton with a more firm yarn. So I have this stored just to show it as an example, but I really don't wear it because can be a headache, or I can really destroy it in just one night. So second example. And I have a third example here with cotton yarns which have not the correct thickness required for these pin looms. I use them double. They are number 4 more or less, but even though they are double, it's not enough because, as you know, wool fibers, or maybe when they have a mix with a bit of acrylic, they tend to shrink a little bit, and that little bit, it's fine. So they have the enough tension this piece require. They are firm enough, but it doesn't happen with cotton. You know, they are quite firm fibers and then don't shrink at all. So when you get used to use natural wool in your weaving pieces, or most acrylics, they shrink a bit and you get used to them and you think, okay, they will work fine, because when you see them in the pin loom, they are working just fine. But then when you remove them, they shrink a bit, they work, but that won't happen with cotton. Cotton will stay the same, okay? At least they have some of a percentage of elastic fibers. But as they usually don't, this is what happens. They have a great drape. They are very fresh, like cold when you touch them, cold feeling. But as they don't shrink, they be delicate and will be these holes in between that can be dangerous, okay? Can be easily stuck on anything, and then you have to be very careful when you wear them, okay? So in terms of cotton, remember that they won't shrink at all, okay? In most cases. So if you're getting something in the pin loom, you're getting a result. That is the result you will get when you get the piece of the loom. They won't change, okay? So be careful with cotton. Try to use the correct thickness with one strand or more, but the thickness that that is number 5, 6, okay, bulky or super bulky, or it won't work at all. And the final example I have today is this plate, which used to be a part of a sweater I was making, one of my usual designs. Well, I have another one here, very similar. So in this case, this is number between 4 and 5, so it's not the required thickness, but as I was saying, as this is wool, natural wool, it tends to shrink a bit, so it works. So sometimes when you have these pieces in your pin loom, you pull them more, you weave them more tight, so you know that they will shrink more, but as they shrink, they will look dense enough, firm enough for the project you're making. But what happens in these cases with texture stitches, like here, the herringbone? Well, here is the problem, because those areas will tend to lose, okay, because are long stitches. So it will look fine or work fine more or less in the plain stitch, okay, in the basic stitch, but not in these areas. I mean, they look fine, but it will be more delicate here. It will tend to open. Okay, so what I recommend is that you use this thickness, which is number 4, 5 more or less, but in these places, like the brown area where I have the herringbone stitch, use a thicker yarn or double this one and it will work. So be careful with the texture stitches when you're not using the specific thickness of yarn you require. So change it in the stitches or just double it in case it's enough yarn. So in any case, I always recommend to experiment, to explore with this, with different yarns and different thicknesses, because it is a whole world of possibilities. It is not a like a straight rule you follow. Sometimes I think that they will work in some sort of way, and that won't happen because it is not exactly yarn than the other I used to use. It's a whole world of possibilities because thickness can vary at all, the elasticity, how soft the yarn, the softness, and also fibers that tend to slide and the ones that doesn't. For example, boucle can be a yarn complex to use when you start weaving these pieces because they tend to tangle a lot, they're a bit confusing, but they won't slide. So they are great if you're trying to use fibers like these acrylics that tend to slide, to mix them with bulky. So again, there's a lot of combinations you can make to have to make a balance between complex yarns and the ones that are the ideal for these pin looms. So I invite you with these examples to experiment a lot, and I don't know, find your own formula and your own favorite yarns to work with, and to try out things, because there is where when you find interesting things, and when you create unique items and projects and textures. So that's me today, and hope you like this video, and comment it please, and let me know what you think. Show your experiments, the pictures of what you have done so far. See you next week. Bye bye.